Hello there and welcome back to the channel Russia in Context. I'm here currently at the intersection of two of Moscow's busiest thoroughfares, the 3rd Ring Road and Vislevski Prospect, but there's not anything particularly interesting about that. Nor am I here for the peace and quiet and fresh air, obviously. No, the reason that we are here today has to do with this monolithic memorial behind me and the man that it's dedicated to.
See, up there? That's Yuri Gagarin, who seems as though he's about to rocket through the stratosphere. And there's a good reason for that. For those of you who don't know, Yuri Gagarin was the first human in space. On April 12, 1961, the Soviet cosmonaut completed a single orbit of the Earth over the course of 108 minutes, becoming a hero in the USSR and cementing himself in the annals of history. Beginning the following year, April 12th was declared Cosmonautics Day in the Soviet Union to commemorate the successes of Gagarin and space exploration as a whole.
So today, starting from here at Ploshchad Gagarina, or Gagarin Square, we'll travel around Moscow to a few locations dedicated to those who, for humanity, opened the way to the stars.
From Gagarin Square, we move next to the Kremlin, specifically its necropolis. This may come as a surprise to some, but the Kremlin isn't just the symbol of living political power here in Russia, but a final resting place for the remains of some of the Soviet Union's most important figures. Perhaps a form of Marxist voodoo with Lenin's embalmed corpse being the centerpiece? I don't know. And I'm getting off topic. Anyway, as I was saying, sometimes heroes of the USSR were cremated and buried at the base of the Kremlin wall, back here behind Lenin's mausoleum. And when Gagarin died prematurely at the age of 34 in a training flight accident, the nation held a day of mourning, and he was laid to rest here. From the first person in space, we move next to the first animal in space. Here, at a rather nondescript building near Petrovsky Park and the Dynamo football stadium, we find a monument with a small, life-size statue of a dog standing atop a pedestal, the lower half rocket boosters, the upper half a cupped palm.
This is Laika, who on November 3rd, 1957 became the first living being to orbit the Earth. Now, at that time, re-entry technology didn't exist, so her journey was always going to be one way, but engineers developed a special mechanism that would have put her to sleep as her oxygen slowly ran out at the end of a week. However, things didn't go according to plan, and after a few hours in flight, Laika passed away when her cabin overheated.
Of course, this didn't stop the Soviet leadership from hiding the fact by sharing made-up status reports on Laika's condition for the daily news. To maintain the image, everything was going according to plan. The true story was only made public in 2002.
Nevertheless, Laika demonstrated to scientists that living things could survive in orbit, and she opened the door for others to follow in her footsteps.
Our final destination is the Cosmonautics Museum and its surrounding territory, right near Metro VDNH. When entering from the far end, you're greeted by two bronze globes, one with the continents and various quotes connected to the grandfather of Soviet cosmonautics, Konstantin Tsiolkovsky, and another with the symbols of the zodiac and constellations. From there, Cosmonauts Alley stretches ahead for over 200 meters, lined with benches on the sides and flower beds and low star-shaped pedestals down the center. This pedestrian area was opened on October 4th, 1967, a decade to the day of Sputnik's launch, humanity's first satellite, and the Soviets' first triumph in exploring the cosmos.
As you can see, the plaques commemorate all sorts of achievements in space. For example, this one here is the union of two ships in near-Earth orbit, the Soyuz 4 and Soyuz 5, and then the fact that two cosmonauts went from one ship to the other through the open cosmos. There's lots of these little milestones commemorated on each of these little plaques. Here in the middle of Allee Kosmonaftov is a model of the solar system, appropriately enough. Very popular with children, probably for obvious reasons. They like to climb on stuff, and nobody's stopping them from doing it here. I do have to note, though, that Pluto is still listed as a planet here. So for all you Pluto fans out here, they're showing that little dwarf planet some respect.
Cosmonauts Alley ends with the impressive Monument to the Conquerors of Space. At 107 meters, it's the second tallest statue in Russia and was built in 1964. The base was always planned to house the Museum of Cosmonautics, though it didn't actually open until the 20th anniversary of Gagarin's flight in April of 1981. The museum itself is a must-see if you're interested in space exploration and its history, and I'd go as far as saying it's one of the best in the city. There are thousands of artifacts and replicas from the Soviet space program, but one of them sticks out in particular. Here we have Belka and Strelka, the next two canines to enter the history books, when they, along with a rabbit, 42 mice, 2 rats, flies, and some plants and fungi, completed 17 orbits of the planet over 27 hours, and, most importantly, successfully returned. Belka and Strelka, along with Laika and all of the other canine cosmonauts, shared a few things in common. First of all, they were all quite small due to the restrictions on space in the early spacecraft. Secondly, they were all street mutts. The scientists specifically chose such dogs because they believed they were hardier and would be able to deal with the stress of a trip to space much better. Anyway, don't worry if furry, taxidermied cosmonauts aren't your thing, though. Like I said before, there's plenty to see here. From a walkthrough exhibit of the Mir space station, to the suit worn by Apollo 11 pilot Michael Collins.
День Космонавтики is probably my favorite Russian celebration, which has its origins in the Soviet era. Every other one is so focused on feats of the past and reverence for what was. Cosmonautics Day, on the other hand, looks on with awe at what mankind has achieved and dreams of what other wonders we will see in the future.
Cosmonautics Day is a holiday not of war or revolution, but of peace, science, and hope. It exalts our curiosity, our fearlessness, and even our ability to work together in something which supersedes any natural boundary or ideology. As always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe for similar content. Write your questions and comments down below. Let me know what you liked or what you disliked, and I'll be sure to get back to you. For now, though, I'm Wyatt, and this has been Russia in Context. Thanks for watching.